Hi everyone, I'm Phil Doctor's dietitian Laura Till, and today I'm so excited to be here to talk to you a little bit more about Phil Doctor's new Diet and Wellbeing programme. So we've developed this in collaboration with Percy Health, who are the UK's largest virtual cancer clinic, and this brings together expert support and evidence-based nutrition to support women after treatment. Now, breast cancer is the most common cancer in the UK, and sadly 1 in 7 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Now, we know that both cancer and its treatments can really take a toll on the body and can result in long-term side effects like changes in body weight, mood, appetite, menopause symptoms, and an increase in cardiovascular risk. We also know that many women feel confused and anxious about what to eat after treatment, as there is so much information and lots of misinformation online. And that's why Phil Doctor and Percy Health, funded by an Innovate UK grant, teamed up to empower women post-treatment with their wellbeing. So let me tell you a little bit about what the programme involved. So the programme lasted 12 weeks, and every week the women received meals, porridges and nut snack packs from Phil Doctor, and these had been carefully developed by cancer specialist dietitians based on the latest scientific research. The meals were nutritionally balanced and inspired by the Mediterranean diet. They were rich in fibre, had lots of different plant foods, and they were fortified with vitamin D. Now, alongside the meals, snacks and porridges, the women were able to access the online programme, and this was a range of sessions led by experts on topics like eating well, nutrition and cancer myths, so talking about things like dairy and soy, easing menopause symptoms and help with feeling more energised. So we ran this programme for the very first time last year, and 46 women took part, and happily we can now share some of those results. So the results showed significant improvements in body mass index and menopause symptoms, an increase in diet quality. So by the end of the trial, more women were adhering closely to a Mediterranean style diet. There was also a 30% boost in confidence around food and nutrition in the women that took part. So following this successful evaluation, we're delighted that we can now make this programme more widely available. So now I am so honoured and pleased to be joined by our wonderful ambassador, Amy Dowden, who has very generously joined us today to share more about her own experience with breast cancer and talk a bit more about how support like this could make a difference to her recovery and so many people's recovery. So welcome, Amy.
Oh, thank you for having me, Laura. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
So, Amy, thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear a bit more about your experience now, if that's okay. So when you first finished treatment, what kind of support did you have, or did you wish was available to help you in your recovery and feeling like you again?
So first I have to say, during my treatment, my surgery, and on the oncology unit now, when I go back for my monthly injections, they are incredible. My oncologist, my surgeon, the breast nurse team, the oncology nurses are honestly real life heroes. But unfortunately, I never got given any information regarding nutrition. And obviously that was a question that was always through my mind throughout my diagnosis, throughout my chemotherapy treatment, and obviously afterwards, because you hear online constantly, sugar causes cancer, this gives you this cancer, this gives you that cancer, and the fear you live with, every ache, every pain, everything you see or do, even like deodorant now, I've gone to make sure that, they're also fragrance free, all that kind of thing as well, not to increase my chances of my cancer returning. But unfortunately, and I don't know whether it's because they have no time within the NHS, obviously they all work so hard, but I received no information whatsoever. So it was down to me then going online, doing my own research. I do have a very good friend of mine who is a nutritionist, who helped me as well, but it was a very scary time, and there was nothing out there, unfortunately, to help or guide me through it. And after you finished your active treatment, it is a weird time anyway, because you go from being at the hospital every single week for blood tests, seeing the doctor, having your chemo treatment, to then all of a sudden you have your last chemo, and nobody really prepares you for this. to then nothing, you're on your own. You've got like a 6 week wait until you have your scan to check that you're okay. And that 6 weeks is when, you're feeling the effects of chemo more than anything. It's really taking its toll on your body. I was a bit deluded. I thought I'm going to finish my chemo and I've got my life back. No, I never felt more of a cancer patient. But also, you're not being checked. You're not seeing someone every week. You're out of that routine. You're left to your own devices. And that's when your mind can go a bit crazy and the scaremonger starts. And I think that's when really you need like a nutrition plan. You need that help. You need that guidance and support.
Yeah, such a vulnerable time, like
Mm-hmm.
the whole process, but particularly afterwards, as you said, because suddenly you've gone from being in a very sort of managed and protected
Like a
time of,
bubble really, to
yeah,
then on your own. And
yeah.
it's a really scary time as well. And you know, by then I'd had 8 chemo sessions into my body. So I was, really run down, my body was as well. So you're also not feeling great at all. Everything's been zapped out of your body by this point. And I'd had surgery before chemo. So yeah, I was at quite a low point, if I'm honest with you.
And so it's that, yeah, you sort of mentioned there like so much conflicting advice online around what to do, and you
Yeah.
can read one thing and you can read someone saying the exact opposite about the same like food or topic. So, how did you navigate it? So you mentioned like you had a friend, and then lots of sort of reading yourself.
Yeah, and I think, the whole few months was trying to build my strength up, trying
Yeah.
to get back to me. There was the Christmas period, which isn't always great as well, and that was quite difficult for me as well. I was lucky enough that I came across Field Doctor. I'd already heard of you guys beforehand throughout lockdown, and I think that really helped as well because I didn't often, my husband would be going out to work, and in those early months after treatment, I didn't have the energy and strength to be able to cook.
Yeah.
And I also think that as well, and I've got such amazing friends and family, but so I was quite lucky and they would always come round and help. But I know a lot of my friends who were going through treatment, they said to me, be careful because a lot of people are around when you're going through chemo. But the minute they stop, they forget, they think that it's over for you, but you're not. You're even more feeling the effects. And all of a sudden, how you go from everyone rallying around you to nobody being there. And I think people forget that as well. Um, so yeah, I did obviously my as much research as I possibly could. So did my husband. But also it's tiring, it's worrying when you're reading things online. Um, so yeah, if there could be something in place, I know that I would have grabbed that opportunity for sure.
So it sounds like, yeah, that post-treatment time where like you really could have done with some extra support and like knowing, I guess, having some expert advice around like how to rebuild your strength, like how to rebuild like your confidence in food, and all whilst appreciating like what your body's been through. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily like have the energy to cook or like plan meals and that type of thing. Yeah.
I also broke my foot, unfortunately, a few days after chemo, my last chemo. Probably
Wow.
from all the side effects of chemo, and it can weaken your bones. So I also had that challenge as well with a broken foot, but also that was screaming to me that you need to get fit and strong again because otherwise, that was the state my body was in. And I was also like, 2 stone heavier than I was, and as a dancer, I wasn't feeling like me. So
Yeah.
very aware of that, but also aware that I need to get the nutrition in me to build my strength back up.
So, if there had been a program like this available to you at the time, what part do you think would have been the most helpful for you?
Um, I think all of it, to be honest with you, the education, the meals, and I think the peace of mind more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, like there is a load of information out there online, but like trying to absorb that and organize it into like what to believe and what not to believe is exhausting. Um, and lots of the women that were on the program said they felt really like cared and supported for. So like some, they were having the meals delivered, which really helped like during those post-treatment early days, and they were feeling extremely fatigued, but also like being able to watch the sessions like in their own time, in, amounts that like suited them, and being able to trust that that was, the right advice to listen to, and sort of, helping with their confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were the things that helped you feel like you again?
So when my hair started growing back, that really helped. When I finally got my boot off from my broken foot, that helped. And then it was like slowly getting back into everyday life because, when you're in that cancer bubble, you're not going to big events, you're scared to get, pick up any bugs and illnesses that, can become life-threatening to us because we don't have an immune system to fight them off. Like a simple cold can be life-threatening for somebody on chemotherapy. Um, so I do think, yeah, it was getting back to work, getting back to my normal activities is what really, if I'm truly honest, helped me. And then when I saw my hair growing back, I was like, phew.
So you've talked about how you use Field Doctor meals yourself, like in those early sort of days after treatment, and now like to support like all the amazing dancing that you do. What do you find like most helpful or comforting about them?
So do you know what? It's fine. You can use them for different things. So I went through a period last year when I was using them to try and get myself back into the physique that I was before, but doing it in a healthy way and still knowing that, because I was trying to eat healthy, but also, trying to be low calorie, if you say, but do it in the right way because my body had already been through so much. I didn't want to suddenly lose weight at once. I wanted it to be gradual and I wanted to be kind to my body. But I also needed to make sure that I was getting the right nutrition, and Field Doctor helped me there. And then, and it took me quite a long period to get back to the Amy I was before. And it was only because I wanted to be back. In my mind, I so wanted to be the Amy I was before cancer, if that makes sense. Like I wanted my hair to be back long. I wanted my weight to be back to how it was before. And it was actually nothing wrong with the way I looked or was. It was just me and how my confidence and rebuilding, I guess, my mental strength again. So, but I did it in a gradual way. And I think Field Doctor really allowed that and helped me through that. And then obviously you do get exhausted really soon. I was so used to be able to do in really long dancing, full-on days, but I had to build up my stamina gradually. So then not having the strength then when you've been at a gym or a dance studio and it's taken everything out of you. Like to begin with, I'd struggle to walk up the stairs, never mind be dancing and going to the gym. And I had an amazing physio I was working with, and he was also doing my workouts as well. And having to be able to then come in and just have these meals already prepared for you and to put literally in the microwave or the oven was just a blessing for me, because then I could just relax on the sofa or go and grab my shower and know I had a delicious meal there ready for me. And obviously my physio team were constantly like, you need to be making sure, you are getting everything that you need back in food in your body.
Yeah.
Because it's like a car, isn't it? Like, it's like if you don't fuel your car, it's not going to start. It's the same. Your body's exactly the same. And obviously being able, for me, after I'd broken my bone, and then unfortunately I did have a hairline fracture again last year during Strictly. Clearly my bone strength was quite weak. But then your meals also have the meals where there's the bone side of things. So I could purely focus on that as well. And now all that's good. My meals, I'm literally looking at to just make sure I've got a good balanced diet and get the right nutrition, tasty. I'm not the best of cooks, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a lot of time because I'm back to my crazy full-on schedule. I'm not complaining. So even if I could cook, I don't even have the time to cook. So these meals, so I've literally got them here with me now, are so helpful and easy. And also, my husband and I like different foods, so they allow for that. I'm so restricted with red meat, nuts, things like that I can't eat. We can choose our own meals and still be able to cook at the same time, sit down and enjoy the meals together. But yeah, now I'm able to, choose the meals that fit around my IBD condition, my bowel condition, plus what I need also to fuel my body, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And we love to hear that. Like, it's so nice to hear how you've been able to use them at different stages of your journey, like, as
Yeah.
your sort of
And there's so
health.
many options for them. Do you know what I mean? You do have those low calorie options, your full on meals, and when you're going on and selecting, it's there to see what you're helping. Do you know what I mean? Are you helping with your heart? Are you helping with, your immunity, with your energy? Obviously, energy is very important for me. So as well, in a week, I can make sure I'm getting a very well balanced choice. Although sometimes I do stick to my favourites. And Ben's
Nothing
like,
wrong
"You're
with
having that one again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love it."
that. Sounds like there's been so many like different parts of your recovery, that very like intense first phase, and then sort of getting back to feeling like you, and then building your strength, and where you are now, like going on tour, and really feeling like Amy again. um what would you say to someone like who's in those early days of like treatment or post treatment, and having that, I guess, like realization that you talked about, that, oh wow, like this is like a bit that I almost didn't prepare for, like wasn't expecting to feel like this.
Yeah. Oh, I would say so much to myself back then. And I wish I could then see how I am now. But I was a bit deluded in you go through the treatment, the surgery and that, but then there's the start, the road of recovery. And for me, I was deluded how long that was going to take. And for me, I just so desperately wanted my life back. I so desperately wanted to be back on the dance floor. And I thought when I got back on the dance floor that everything would be fixed. And I think, oh, from the words that I had, sorry, Amy, it's cancer, it was get back on the dance floor. And I don't think I really ever processed anything. And then I got back on the dance floor and realised nothing really was fixed.
Hmm.
And I think everything come crashing down for me. And then I had to actually process everything. I think I'd go back and tell myself not to compare myself to others. Everybody's on a different cancer journey. Everyone's cancer is so different, from the amount of different chemos there are, and different, you know, um, pharmaceutical drugs that they put you on is also different. The options of surgery are different. How your body responds is so different. So I would tell myself to stop comparing myself to other people. Like I'd see like, they managed to do this after that. Like they managed to go and do this race and I should be at that, or why am I? And it's the worst thing you can do. To compare. I'd give myself a tap on the back for every milestone and to reward myself, and to be kind and gentle to myself because, your body has been through so much. And I think sometimes we're just constantly hard. And yeah, and to just, I always use the phrase don't get bitter, get better. And that you will get there in the end. It's not a race, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But when you look at it, at the time it feels like your whole life is wasting away. It's really not. It's such a small period of your life. It's a chapter of a massive book. And you'll soon look back and be so proud of how far you've come. And yeah, it's just learning to, that to reward every step you take and not to rush. I certainly rushed back and, I'm not patient. Still learning to be patient, and I kept learning the hard way. And maybe my recovery would have been faster had I gone more gradual. I broke my foot and I was still in the booth and I was going to my physio. So when will I dance? He's like, oh, should we start walking again? And then I was like, oh, I want to do this trek and I want to do this. And he's like, right. And do you think I'll be able to do a performance by March, April and dance? And he's like, no, you're looking at more June. And I'm like, June? It's like December. I don't think so. And he's like, yes. So yeah, I think as well, it's being realistic, being kind to yourself. Don't compare to others, and to remember to give yourself a tap on the back, and to not be scared to speak to others to how you feel and to help process the journey. Because I certainly bottled everything up, and then it was like last autumn for me when I unfortunately had to be pulled out strictly when everything come crashing down, and actually I literally had to stop and process what I'd been through because I kept putting it into a cupboard and shutting it, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it comes out eventually.
It does catch up with you. You can't hide it away forever, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it sounds like masses of self-compassion and giving yourself time as well.
Yeah, but also always being proud of what your body have been through and being proud of being here, getting through one of the toughest challenges, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
reminding yourself of that you're still here today and to be proud. It's such a victory getting through a cancer diagnosis and to remind yourself of that.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Ah, no, thank you.
So for anyone who's like going through treatment or perhaps like just starting their post-treatment journey, are there any like resources or places you would recommend like to go for advice, like trusted resources, I guess, that you found on your journey?
The Macmillan team are amazing. So definitely reach out to them for sure. And they don't just help you, they can help your families as well and your loved ones that are also affected by a cancer diagnosis. So yeah, for me, definitely reach out to them. Um, and remember your friends and family. You know, often you think holding things in is protecting them. No, they can tell when you're down. They can tell when you need to talk or when you need to cry. And, I think we all have, a good handful of those trusted ones. And yeah, to sometimes, if you need a rant, just let it out. And the best piece of advice as well I was given was quite early on, and it was in an appointment, and a nurse was like, Amy, because I'd go into an appointment so when am I going to get back onto Strictly? Am I going to be able to do this series? That's how deluded I was. I was being diagnosed in the spring, and I genuinely thought in July I was going to be joining Strictly. And the nurse was like, Amy, you're holding everything in. You need to cry. You need to, the best thing you can do is let it out. And she was right. And when I did stop and cry, good God, did I cry? But yeah, and I say that to everybody now. Like, you don't need to hold it in. It's it's good for you and it's proven. Don't protect it. If you need to cry, just let it out. I think as well, it's like setting small little goals. So whether that be a holiday, and meeting up with a friend and going for a walk in the park, or that little goal, whether it's in the near future or in a distant future, something to work towards. I
Yeah.
had like a little list on my fridge for the following year of what I wanted to achieve. And I think that can help too. But yeah, for sure, um, don't be scared to reach out and ask for help. Number one. And you can always go to your oncology units, and the nurses there, they might have local charities there and on the unit. Like there was somebody on our unit you could talk to. And for me, Macmillan Cancer, and then obviously my own personal advice. That's all I can give because that's the tools I used around me.
Yeah. And Macmillan are like wonderful and they have some really good like amazing resources that you could
Yeah.
download for like you and like your loved ones as well. Amy, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Like it has been like really incredible to like hear you share your journey, and I know that a lot of women are going to resonate and find it incredibly helpful. So thank you for being so generous and sharing your time and with us today.
Now, thank you for having me. I do want to, as much as I possibly can, speak about my experience to help others. Like you said, unfortunately, cancer affects too many of us now. So I think the more it's out there, the more it's spoken about, I do think it's helpful, hopefully, in getting the message out there and raising awareness. But also, thank you to you guys, because you too were a big part of getting me back on the dance floor. So thank you so
Oh, yeah.
much.
We're very proud to have helped in any small way that we can. So, for anyone that would like to learn more about the programme or the meals, you can go onto our website, fieldoctor.co.uk, and if you press Get Started, you'll be able to go through our quiz and find the meals and programme that way. Thank you to everyone listening today, and we'll see you again soon.